welcome to Elegantly Knotted. It's been a while, I do apologise. I actually started work again, so that's been keeping me busy. And I haven't been knotting as much as I was able to during my lockdown, no employment time. And that's another reason why I haven't had any wrap-up videos. I think I've only done about 3 bracelets each month for the first 3 months of the year. It's coming up to the end of March now, so I think I'll do a quarterly wrap-up instead of a monthly wrap-up from now on. But somebody, Angela, thank you so much for the encouragement. Although it's been a couple of weeks now, she did post a comment asking for me to do some more tutorials. So I asked her what she'd like to see, and she said double loop on an alpha bracelet. So this is what I'm bringing to you today. I've chosen this pattern. I think it's 81374, but I put it in the corner here. And it's another pattern by Soda Pop. I love her patterns. They are really good. And it's actually a single bracelet. It's actually a thinner one than I've done it, but I've doubled it up. And I'll show you in the next clip how I did that, or how it fits together. But I'm basically doubled up the bracelet to make it require a double loop. And obviously if you have a pattern that is this wide, I'll put how many it is wide up here because I can't remember exactly. But yeah, if you have something that's this wide or wider, then you can do a double loop. And you can take this approach for as many loops as you require. So I've started it, and if you want to know how I did it, please keep watching. Okay, here we have one of the double loops already created. It's made up of 7 threads folded in half, and then an additional thread is added to the loop, which creates the actual loop itself, and then also the first part of the triangle. As it's in 7 strands on each side of the loop, to get the triangle you split it up, so it's 7 for the lowest row, which has not been done yet, then 5 for the one above it, 3 from the one above it, and then an additional 1 after the loop is complete. So, and you use the additional thread that you've added to make that. And then these will be woven in and then cut off afterwards because they're not needed. So I'll do the same on the other side. And this is for the right hand. I believe it will be the right hand side of the loop. And I started off with the right hand side first, just to show you what it should look like. And then the row with the 7 knots on each will be done from this left hand side all the way across. Okay, so I'll show you how I created that. So on this left side, I have an extra long thread because that's also going to be used as the weave-in thread. So one side is much longer. It could be even longer than this, but for the ease of actually doing the knotting, it's best not to have it too long. But as it's an alpha, you want it as long as possible. Okay, and then here we have the 7. Double check it, always double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. And then that's the same length as the other side and fold it in half. Then we're going to add, keep it separate. And then as this is the longer side, I'm going to do the loop from that side. I normally use a clipboard, so let's see if I can use a clipboard on this occasion. Might move around a bit. I'm just separating the longest or the additional weaving string. And let's attempt to do the knotting. So to do the loop, you do backward and forward knots. So I'll do about 15. Okay, so I've now done about 15 knots. I had to wind up the end onto a bobbin so it makes it easier. Well, it makes it so that it doesn't get tangled up, but for me it's not easier. Anyway, so let's now just remove it. Okay, normally I would check which side would be the neater side, which would go at the front, but as we already have the long thread on the left, I have to keep it this way around, but it looks fine, I think. Okay, so now we need to build, so I'll start with the right hand side triangle, and then if I finish with the left one, we can go all the way across. So let's, and I'm gonna clip the left hand side. Let's find this shorter thread. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so on the right hand side of the loop, it doesn't matter which direction you take it, because this is just going to be cut off, it's not used. So I always start off with one knot. So that's one. And then we split this into 3. As I said, this it has to end up with 7 separate knots. So if we take it as 3 first, we'll have 2 on the left, 2 threads on the left, and 2 threads on the right. I'm trying to pick the ones that are how they come out of the loop. 2 threads on the right, and then 3 in the middle. So let's take this, and I do a backward. Which way? Yep, the side. Depending on which side the first knot ends, it's looking like it's flowing to the left. So I'll start with the left hand side. So just do a backward forward to give it a straightish edge. The middle one doesn't matter which direction, so I'm going left to right, so I do a forward knot here. That's the first part. That's the second. And now we're at the edge, so we do a forward backward. That's the first part, forward, and then backward. And then to get the 5 sections, we leave the 2 threads here, and then we'll knot these 3 in the middle individually. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So another forward backward, so that we can go back in the backward direction. And then we'll do this section individually, and these will all be backward knots. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And then the last one is a backward forward. Yeah, backward and then forward. Okay, and then I'll put these in the front, move that thread to the back, and then there's your first side of the triangle. So the left side is now done. As you noticed, it actually is going the right direction. So ordinarily we would have then done 7 individual threads across, but again I said we're going to use this side to do across all of here and then also across the second loop. Okay, so let's rearrange. If you can work with a shorter string, you could have made this side shorter still, but I think you need enough to actually get purchase on it. Okay, so let's now shift that around. See, I definitely like using a clipboard as opposed to tape, because you don't have to worry about unsticking and sticking and the tape getting unsticky. But that's just my preference. Okay, so let's take this. So we're doing the first knot of one, and then we'll just split this into 3. And from the pattern, it's a cloverleaf pattern because it's St. Patrick's Day this week, which is also my birthday. So I thought I would use the purple thread because that's my favourite colour, and then the green will be obviously the clover leaves. Yeah. Anyway, split it into 3. We want 3 to go that way, and then 5 to go that way. So then we can start with 7 to go all the way across. So it's 3 that way, 5 that way. So we start with a forward, backward. So much harder on this bobbin. The middle one doesn't really matter which direction, but we'll just go forward because we're going from left to right. So that's 1, 2, and then the last in the row is a forward, backward, forward, backward. And then we're going to do 5 from right to left. Start with a forward, backward again. And then we'll take these individually to make the 5. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's the third center one. And then this last one is the last 2, and it's a backward, forward. Hope you can see it okay. Okay. So that's the last one. Okay. So on the other side we would have left this behind, but now we're going to use this to join, to start the now all 7 knots. Then we'll join 7 knots here. I normally put it on a button, so let me just check that it will fit around the button. Just use the bracelet I'm wearing already. I'll hold it together, make sure it fits. Yep, it's good purchase. Okay, so that's fine. So that's small enough for me. I see I didn't didn't make sure it went to the right, so it's gone a bit funny. So double check that the knots are lying flat on the loop section. That will just make it a little bit neater. Okay, I'm just going to attach it to the board like that. Okay. And remember not to knot over this small one for the first time anyway. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to knot across all 7 on the left side. So the first one is a forward backward. Oh no, backward forward. I may have done that wrong, but it should have been a backward forward. And then we do the next 5 are forwards. Five. Which way around should this go? Yeah, I was right first time. Six. And the last one is a forward forward, because we're not returning, we're actually continuing it on, so this is actually still a forward knot, not a forward backward. Okay, I just want to straighten it before I go on. Push it up a little bit. If you've got a ruler, that might make it a bit neater. So there's that first side, all 7 done. Now let's join the other side. Remember not to include that additional one that will be cut off. Okay, and this one again is a forward knot because it's in the middle. Let's give it a bit. As you're joining, just try and make it as tight as possible before you do the second part of the knot. Otherwise you'll have a loose initial middle. When you do the next row it'll be fine though. But okay, so we've joined our first part of the loop. And then the last one, as we're going to join it with a second loop, we still do a forward forward here. It's not a backward, forward backward, because basically you're not ending the bracelet here. Okay. Okay. So here's how first part of the loop looks. Hope you can see that. Okay, and then we're going to join the second part. Okay, so let's join the second part of the loop. So here's the other one again. These are the extra threads. We're going to keep that away for now. And then we'll basically use this thread from the left loop or left side of the bracelet to join the now 7 threads on each of these 2 sides, so 14 threads here, and then we'll have a double loop. The tricky part is attaching it to the board. So we just want that to be joined like that. Get it as close as possible. Obviously when you knot it, it will change the layout slightly, but get as close to what you'd like to see as possible. And then tape it or clip it down. Yeah. Another reason why I like clips is because you can adjust it to close to the edge as possible. Okay, so let's just take that apart. I might need to readjust again, but I'll just move that to the side for now. And look, readjust a little bit. Yeah, okay. So let's get this started. Okay. So it's just like joining this middle section here. We're basically doing exactly the same, but it's another loop or another bracelet that you're adding on. Okay. Yeah, make sure you don't confuse the other loops, but yeah. So a forward, again, it's a forward knot because it's not an edge knot anymore. So that's the first one. Second one. And then the last one on this side is again a forward knot, not a forward backward, because it's no longer an edge knot. Okay. We're starting on the final part of this double loop. How great is that? So again, it's a forward knot because it's no longer an edge. Tighten it as much as you can to bring it together with the other side on the first part of the knot. And then you secure it with the second knot. Ooh. And then the last knot is number 7, and it's because it's an edge knot, you now can do a forward backward. So that's forward and backward. So that's your first row to join them. I'm just going to do another row Again, it depends on your pattern, but I like to just reinforce that row, that join with another row. So I'm just going to go away, do that, and then I'll show you the finished double loop. Okay, I'll be back. So I've did another row. I haven't taken it off the clipboard yet because I wanted you to see it along with me. So that's how it looks. It's all joined. Yeah, the loop's a little bit different. Maybe I didn't use the exact same amount of knots, but let me put that back so you can see contrast. So that's how it looks. So because we have 7 on each side, we have 7 at the bottom, 5, 3, 1, and then the 7, which is that previous row. That was the first joined row, and then this was the sort of like finishing row to strengthen the join. And now I can start, and also I like to start the pattern from the left as well. So now I can start doing the pattern. This is what it looks like from the back. So these threads I've cut off. Let me do that now in front of you guys. Just cut it off as close as possible to the edge. Don't forget, don't cut this one off. So that's what it looks like from the back. I advise when you start yours, probably do the loops at the same time so you can remember, or make sure you count the number of loops you do on each so that they match, because it looks like this one is probably slightly more loops. But other than that, I think it turned out really well. Hopefully I'll do a little bit more of the pattern. You'll see that at the beginning. So here we have the finished product, or nearly finished. Got up to doing the first 2 clover leaves, and I think you can just about make it out. I'm not happy with the color contrast, so I'm not going to complete the whole bracelet, and also the threads for this pattern is actually a bit too small. So it's good to show up because it's quite defined for the video or instructional purposes, but for this pattern it's a bit too small. The knots are very small, so I'm not liking how it actually looks overall. But here we have 2 loops on an alpha. Once again, thanks to Angela for encouraging me to do another video, and I hope this has been helpful for you. And to anybody else watching, if you would like to suggest a tutorial for me to do, please do give me some ideas of what to create. I like to do something useful for people, so I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. All right, take care and happy knotting. See you on the next one. Bye.